This is the Global Broadcasting Service, serving remote outposts since 1928.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express monorail.
Caramba, we have something really big for you today.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge. Hi, friends. Welcome to this week's pod, the show for the week of November 24th, 2025. And this was going on in our Disney World. Breaking news, Phil. The open date for World of Frozen and Disneyland Paris has been announced, which is post your vacation, unfortunately. Yeah. So you're crossing your fingers for a soft opening, potentially.
Yeah, but, or else I'll just gaze from the outside and see the Elsa's castle.
Look, you just gotta like rush the fences or what barriers or whatever. Just get in there. I mean, what's the worst? You just extradite you to the U.S. I mean, like, what are we gonna do?
My youngest daughter's light. I'll just throw her over the fence.
That's it.
Unlock a door.
What are you doing over there? Oh my goodness. Another question we're going to ask everybody is: are too many dining options at Epcot? Which I think is actually a pretty good observation, at least from what I've seen the last couple times I was in Epcot. So it's a good point. Disney Parks and Experiences post a record of profits in 2025. I don't know how much we're going to talk about this, Phil. We didn't record last week because I had some personal issues to attend to. It would have been a weird show anyway because it was only 4 days after our epic 2 hour. So you got your fill for 2 weeks in a row with a 2 hour episode rather than 2 1 hour episodes, right? I guess that's fair. But we're gonna mention some things. I don't really think there's anything to talk about at this point. Disney made a lot of money. People keep saying they're never gonna make a lot of money, but they keep doing it, and Wall Street hates them for that, which is a very strange relationship. We're gonna play a game, rank them in the Lightning Lane single pass usage. So we're gonna rank all the Lightning Lanes single passes, all in order of our preference. It's gonna be very interesting. I don't know how we're gonna do that efficiently. I don't know how it's gonna work, but we're gonna have fun. There's always going to be all right answers and wrong answers, and Phil has all the wrong ones, but we'll probably agree on everything anyway, which means I'm wrong. So I don't know how that works. Want to announce a couple new members. We have a new Matt on Discord. Welcome, Matt. This podcast is for you. He found us. He's coming east, I guess, in the coming weeks, and he hopped in Discord finally. So we appreciate Matt for joining the conversation. Thanks, and hopefully you stay and contribute to the community, enjoying this week's DBC Pod engagement. We're going to be looking for you in the coming week. And then you finally got an email after 5 years, Phil.
I know. I was very excited to see that. Yeah, so we got an email from Joe P, who just, nice short note, but dropped to it saying that he is new to our podcast, but he gives it an A+, which is a pretty high score, I think. And he said, nice to listen during his commute from New Jersey to New York. So I guess we can fill up somebody's commute time.
Yes. We'll split today's podcast between Matt and new Matt and Joe. His name's actually not new Matt, but he's just when we refer to Matt, we talk about our friend Matt from formerly of Diz Happenings, and now you're just new Matt at this point. So sorry, new Matt, you're just new Matt at this point until you're just Matt again. But
we'll have to see if he's new and improved or
something like that. Okay, so the first in this week in Disney World today, it was just Disney released like a 33-minute video of a montage of a collection of a whole bunch of different things, and we're going to go through some of them. A lot of stuff that we've suspected, but it has a really cool video. It was 33 minutes long, and the first point I want to make, Phil, is it seems like that over the last 6-ish months or so, we've been getting a lot of stuff out of Imagineering, which I think is really cool. Whether it's it's not so much the behind the scenes where we're watching some 20-something-year-olds kind of go about their day. We're seeing the men and the women behind some of these really cool effects and kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah, it seems like more of kind of the research and development stuff. Yeah. Earlier on in the process versus hey, we're behind the scenes working on Test Track 3.0. It's no, this is we're working on stuff back in the lab and who knows what the application is going to be or whatever, but it's fun.
Yeah. So I love how we're putting faces to Imagineering again. I think that's part of reason why, they're not just some faceless organization that puts out good rides where they're trying to make them people. Because I think, after all the roadies and everybody from the 60s and the 70s that helped build the Magic Kingdom and Disney World, there's been a lack of famous Imagineers, I guess. Mm-hmm. So hopefully this is a good job of building a new generation of recognizable people that are building amazing entertainment for us down in Disney World. So one of the first things I thought was really cool is they showcased a new animatronic with projected faces or projection faces, and not to be confused with the rear projection, the ones that they're getting rid of in the Frozen ride. These are frontal projections. They're projecting from some way, and the camera tracks the face in the projection. So if the face turns or whatever, it tracks that movement and the details, Phil, in this. Did you get a chance to see this portion of the video?
I did see this clip. It kind of feels like the next generation or 2 or 3 generations after the singing busts in the Haunted Mansion type thing, where it's like you have kind of a physical thing that you're projecting the face onto, but the what you're projecting onto also moves and stuff like that. And they were showing how it can show a lot more emotion. I think it pointed out that it was like crying or blushing and all sorts of things like that. So kind of I guess it's mirroring like the singing bus with like what they do on the castle for Happily Ever After and stuff like that, and kind of putting those types of things together and just getting a lot more. It'll be interesting to see how they use it in practicality.
So like the busts in the Haunted Mansion, they're projecting onto a surface, but the surface doesn't move. So they're busts, right? So it's very easy to project that because you're not expecting the head to kind of move and do things. However, the animatronic moves. You can see, different facial expressions, but when the projection's off, it's basically just kind of flat. It's like there's no detail on it whatsoever. But it moves. So the new technology, and I remember seeing some kind of presentation, whether it was a Disney presentation or just like technology, something I saw like on the internet somewhere. The projection tracks the movements of the object and is able to still map onto that object as it is in motion. I think that's the major thing. It's like being able to track with just different vision systems and stuff like that. And a really cool example, like they showed it crying, like it showed tears coming down its face, and it looked real, right? As much as a projection can look real. And then like they were talking other things where like the last bit was like, imagine we're in a sword fight and woof, and the sword nicks his face. It was like a little cut, like kind of like came across his cheek. It was like bleeding a little bit. So I thought that would be really cool in like a Pirates type of attraction where like 2 swashbucklers going at it type of thing. I thought that was really neat. Now, my question for you, Phil, is would you like to see more of these in the park versus like your standard, like, the most advanced, I guess, animatronic was like the Tiana ones that are in there? Like, would you have a preference on which ones you see? Would this impress you enough where like this is the way to go in the future? Where do you
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of open to trying new things out, although I do also want to see them maybe spend some time perfecting what we already have, because there's a lot of reports that like the Clawhauser animatronic in Zootopia is already down and stuff like that. So it's like, it's great you're building these new things, but like maybe get the things that are currently working optimally. I don't know. There's still something to the physicalness of actually seeing the mouth open and all that sort of thing. And I don't know. I don't know if it's just the history of animatronics and stuff, but I don't want to see those being replaced. If there's a great application for this, then I'm all for it. And maybe it's something like something that's supposed to look a little bit more real versus like a Fantasyland type thing. Maybe that would be appropriate, like something that's like teaching you something or other. So I don't know. I'm open to it. I hope they don't just like force it. Like we have this new thing, we got to use it, and they force it like into places where it doesn't really belong. But if they find the right application and this is a tool they have in their toolbox to bring out, then I think that's great.
Yep. Again, if it looks good, I'm all for it. I'm not kind of stuck on things. But if this was cheaper than like a normal animatronic or more reliable, and you could put more of them in a ride, like let's go.
Yeah, that's one thing I thought. Like to your point, if it was a little cheaper and reliable, maybe some places where they're having screens now, they could replace with this. Like if it's cheaper than a full blown A1000 or whatever. So I was thinking some of the scenes in Rise of the Resistance where they have like video of some of the characters, if they could use this, which feels a little bit more 3-dimensional, but isn't as expensive as having all the A1000 animatronics. Maybe there's a good compromise for when those uses.
Another really interesting that kind of hit the headlines is Disney's partnering with Meta for some glasses. If you didn't know, Meta glasses are basically, there's like some overlay on the glasses themselves. There's a speaker, there's a microphone, you can engage with it. And they're kind of promoting this as a virtual tour in the parks. These glasses are like you see through the glass, right? It's not like a Apple Vision Pro where your face is covered. It's an actual pair of glasses, and they're kind of touting it as like you can do tours. They can somebody can narrate like different architecture pieces or stuff like that. Kind of like the same videos you watch on like learning about how they designed Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, because that was one of the clips that they showed. Another aspect, Phil, was that they can, because there's a camera on there, you could be looking at something and say, what is this? How much it is? You can kind of work with like an AI agent almost in that regard. Phil, would this be like, let's ignore the cost of Meta glasses, which are a couple $100.
Yep.
Is this something that you would actually wear in a park and try to get that experience?
I would say most likely not. I think this feels like something that for people that are already into that technology, like a new application for it. I don't think I would get these glasses just for wearing at the park. I do wonder if it can do things that are a little bit more engaging and more fun. I know I saw one clip that a little while ago where it showed like, oh, you could look at somebody had a backpack or something and it could look up and tell you where they bought the backpack and stuff like that, which is
They
okay.
touted that in the video.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. That just kind of feels like Google. I don't know. But I was thinking if there's some way where it incorporated things that are in like the app, like the Play app or with the Magic Bands and stuff, where instead of having to look at your phone for the data reader for the bounty hunter thing, now it's all in your glasses and things like that, where it's more of a game or an activity, then I think I could get a little bit more excited for it. What they've shown so far just doesn't really interest me too much.
One of the things I would love a pair of these, but I think they're only for like me as like a solo traveler. Like if I'm the only one with these glasses, but the rest of my family doesn't have them, then it's not fun. And then my kids are screaming at me like, let me have my turn, and then they break, right? So I think they're only beneficial if everybody in your party has them. Otherwise it's just like the dad or the mom wears them and it's just like they use it to do mobile ordering or whatever and everybody's jealous of them, right?
Yeah.
So for these to work, for these to have to me, like not everybody's going to have them at the price point of like $200 and something of these, right? That's too expensive for your stay. They have to get to the point where they're inexpensive enough so like everybody gets them like Magic Bands, even if they're like maybe $90 or $100, and like maybe that's a promo to get people to stay on property or whatever. But I think until there's a massive adoption of these things, I think they're going to be niche and they're not going to be super developed with certain things. So I'll be curious what direction they're going to go in.
I think one application I could see is maybe as part of tours that go on, because right now they usually give you like a headset so you can hear what the tour guide's giving. But if they also gave you these and you're able to like what he's pointing out or she's pointing out to you.
Oh, good point.
It kind of highlights them. It gives you more information. And this way, if you can't quite hear what they're saying or not quite sure what he's talking about, I don't know. It seems like it could have
that's a great
application
point.
in that way. And this way they're just loaning them to you for the tour. You don't have to like buy your own and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good point. I like that. I would actually do that. I would want to like I can take a tour with my family and everybody gets a pair. Everybody gets the same experience. I would definitely do that. One of the next ones, he spent a lot of time in this in the video, was new walk around characters, and they showed a really awesome clip of like Olaf walking around, and kind of interacting and talking and doing all these type of things. What were your initial impressions of that, Phil?
So my initial pressure was, I guess now Defunctland has to add a 5th hour to the video because now apparently they've actually continued working on these walk around characters. My first reaction was I thought Olaf looked great. I mean, it really looked like Olaf. It shows you the difference versus like the meet and greet character, which is obviously like increased in size so somebody could fit into it. This really looked like Olaf. He was moving around great. He sounded great. We'll see how long the application of this is. I always get fearful when I see these things. It's going to be there for the grand opening and then gone.
Never again.
And nobody will ever see it again. They're supposed to have Olaf in Paris and in Hong Kong. I don't know. I love these things. I think they're cool. It's just they're just not applicable really for like the average park goer's experience because there's just too many people and it has to be in a bit of a controlled environment. I don't know.
Let me like over the summer I took my son into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and it was just enough time for us to see the BDX droids kind of walking around, those little guys, because that was also part of the video. They showed like the 30th video of these people, like the engineering behind it.
And then I saw the other one with like the bipedal one where they like knocked it over and it like was able to like protect itself as it fell and stuff. Which I'm like, between that and the other thing where they're cutting the animatronics face,
very violent.
It's like all they do is like they build these robots so they can beat them up. It's like weird.
Well, I mean, now you're putting me down to a change, but I just want to say about the BDX droids. They did a very good job of coming out from behind the scenes. They walk through a channel of people, or like a corridor of people, and then like they were behind a fence where like Chewie and the Falcon kind of interact with each other. It was a very cool experience to see in the parks. I mean, it's literally not just like they're letting them be all by themselves and kind of walk around. I can see Olaf doing something like that if it's like a special area where it can walking around. You can see it like walking to and fro with obviously people following him around. To your point though about knocking people down, maybe they're finally developing robots. They're inexpensive enough where if they're damaged, it's not too much of a loss. Right. And if there's people trying to kick the robotic Olaf down, like it could catch itself and like run away or something else like that.
Or even if not on purpose, just like kids are running
or if it knocks
around.
off.
Just like in excitement, they bump them or whatever like that. But yeah, you know, there's going to be some like punk kid who's like, "Hey, watch this! I'm going to kick Olaf's butt."
And then he gets trespassed, and he never comes back to Disney World again. There was another really cool segment, and it was brief. It was towards the end, but it was aquatic animatronics or aquatic robots. I don't know what exactly you want to call it. Probably robots. There are two versions that they showed. So Phil, you missed this part.
Yeah.
There was the I forget what they call them. It's basically the surfboards that people couldn't ride in like a lake. The motor's under the water, and then the surfboard is like kind of suspended like a foot off the ground type of thing.
Yeah, the hover surfboards or whatever.
Something like that. Yep. Yeah. So it's basically that, but it looked like a manta ray, right?
Oh, okay.
And it had its like wings, whatever, kind of gracefully touched the thing, and it was kind of going around. It looked really, really cool. I immediately thought of like this would be great in the in Animal Kingdom for the nighttime show in that pavilion with all the water around it. That would be really neat. So that was really cool. And it looked like a manta ray kind of swimming all over the surface type of thing. And then another one is they built like I guess it was a dolphin, I believe. And it showed it like swimming and then kind of jumping out of the water and back like in and stuff like that. I thought that's really cool. I mean, it was about maybe 3 feet long type of thing. But just because like, why are they building these things? Like, it's got to be for something other than just like, so I think that'd be really cool if they could start building different things where it's like, it's interacting with a lot of water and all this other type of stuff. So maybe it's for like an underwater type of, not underwater attraction, but an attraction that potentially goes underwater for a moment and comes back up, kind of like 20,000 Leagues type of thing. So I thought that was really cool. That kind of caught me off guard. Then they had a section about Mando. The only thing I'm really excited about, it's just not that silly mission that we have now. It's something else. And then they kind of regurgitated some of the news that we already knew from D23 about, what's going on there. But Phil, I thought it was a really cool update of like a bunch of different things WDI is working on. No like specific updates for the parks. Like I'm announcing things, but it's a lot of like a little bit of history. They went over like the Spider-Man vaulting animatronic that's out west. So it was really cool. I suggest everybody go watch it. There's a lot of news and Twitter feeds that are kind of just showing like clips of it here and there. So if you don't watch the like 33-minute one, there might be segments that you missed. I think it's all rather interesting. You wanted to talk about the World of Frozen and their announcement today, Phil. So since you'll be there in not too long.
Yeah, so we'll be over in Paris and going to Disneyland Paris in February. We knew they had been working on part of the expansion and some things like the new entranceway is going to be open, but there was like a big update coming where they've been working on World of Frozen and some other stuff. And this is part of the renaming of the park and stuff like that. And they had mentioned it was going to be in the spring, so I didn't really hold out hope. But when they started showing things and things looked more and more kind of complete, I was like, well, maybe. But no, they did come out. First of all, they had an announcement, I think, Friday or something, that an announcement would be coming. I always love an announcement for an announcement.
Everybody's doing that these days.
But they announced that it will officially open on March 29th. So just about a little over a month, about 5 weeks after we'll be there. Maybe there'll be a soft opening. Who knows? But otherwise, I'll just look longingly over the fence and stuff like that. And we'll see what happens. They did say there will be pass holder previews coming, but no more information there. Of course, if there are pass holder previews when we're there, then I got to do the math. Does it make sense to upgrade to pass holders? I don't know, but we'll see. They also talked about the roaming Olaf figure that will be part of the World of Frozen there. They will also be having a new boat show in the lagoon because all this is built around a big lagoon that's being added to that park with different lands around it, but the World of Frozen being a big part of it. And they said it's going to feature a new song that Frozen composers Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez are doing. It's a brand new song just for this show that's going to be there during the day. This is also the time when they will be officially renaming the park. It's going from the Disney Studios park. It is now going to be called Disney Adventure World. Also, one other ride that they've been working on, Rapunzel Tangled Spin, will be opening then. And the new nighttime show, which, if you recall, a couple weeks ago, it was reported about the drone show that people were capturing out west. It is for this park. It'll be over that big lagoon. It's going to be called Disney Cascade of Lights. It's the new nighttime show on the new Adventure Bay. And they said that this 360-degree show features hundreds of drones, choreographed fountains, water screens, pyrotechnics, and the recently announced world's first aquatic drone system.
Is that what I was just talking about then?
It might have been that. I don't know if those were drones or I think those were different things, but this is supposed to be some sort of with the drones that I think they're going to be out on the water and like launch from the water or something like
okay.
that. So of course everyone's like, why can't they do that at Epcot and like that sort of thing? But I guess we'll see. But I don't know. It's very exciting. It looks like a really amazing area. They're going to have, kind of a high level meet and greet and that sort of thing. And it just seems like a wonderful area to go. Of course, they talked about all the new restaurants and all the merchandise and stuff like that. So while it would be cool to be there when it opened, it looks like that's not to be for me. But I guess if we like it, just another reason to go back in the future. They did also talk that work has officially begun on the new Lion King area and the new Lion King ride. That's also going to be a part of the land. So lots of activity going. Yeah, said overall, it's pretty much going to double the footprint of this park. So it's going to go from being like kind of an afterthought, kind of what's always been considered the worst Disney park in the world, to maybe one of the more desirable parts to visit. So we shall see.
Can't wait to see some details, because I think this is going to tell us a lot of how they're going to build a lot of stuff in Disney World at this point, because this is going to be the latest kind of work from WDI. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yep,
for sure. I know we talked about this a while ago when they announced the new name, the Disney Adventure World. How would you feel if once whatever Monsters Inc. is, done, and then whatever they announce, because there's going to be a second announcement for Hollywood Studios at some point within the next 5 years or so, and they renamed Hollywood Studios to something else, would you be disappointed if they renamed it Disney Adventure World as the same thing, or would you want to see something different, or would you want to keep Hollywood Studios?
I'm kind of open to it. I know some people are very they want to see the names stay the same, and people always joke they still call it MGM and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, I hope they come up with a good name if it is, but if in some ways it would be good to have a new name, because then people would be like, stop, like, this doesn't fit a studio's theme. It's like, well, it's not a studio anymore, so it doesn't even have that name. So maybe that would help people get over that and be more okay with the theme changes coming to the park. If they could call it Disney Adventure World Florida, and then have change California Adventure to Disney Adventure World California, like kind of almost. I mean, they have Disneyland Paris, Disneyland Hong Kong. Like,
what if they called it Disney Adventure Land, but it's in Florida?
Just to mess with things.
Just to mess with everything.
So you have the Adventure Land in the world, and then you could have Adventure World in Disneyland or whatever. Yeah,
exactly.
That sounds like something they would do. For sure.
And it's very exhausting just thinking about it right now. But it'd be
some would be Disney, and some would be Disney's with an apostrophe, and it's like all sorts. Some would be the Disney World, and
yeah, of course, just make it all fun. So I'm like, let me ask this one thing before we move on to the Epcot topic. If you had known that it was March 29th prior to booking, would you have changed your booking date to go past it?
It's an interesting thought. I mean, obviously we couldn't just extend because we're going February because it's the winter break and that sort of thing. And I think it's more of, would we have just decided not to go then and just rethought about when do we want to go, and maybe go in the summer or something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't think we would have rearranged our schedule to be there for the opening, because it's kind of, we're dependent on the kids' school breaks and stuff. But we might have put it off if we knew, if we just push it off a few months, we'd be okay. I mean, the main reason we're going is because we can go that week, and we found good flights, and it's kind of like we're going to go to Paris itself as much as we are for Disneyland. So it kind of is, but maybe we would have pushed it off. I don't know.
So one of your questions was, is there too much dining? Is that how you said it? There's too much dining options at Epcot, because the Coral Reef is ending lunch in early 2026. So what's that all about, Phil?
Yeah, so I don't know if it was ever officially announced, but people just noticed that the operating calendar for Coral Reef starting on January 12th is only going to be open from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And actually, according to the reservation system, only dinner is available to be booked starting on January 4th. So it seems like as soon as we get to the new year, you'll not be able to book a lunch at Coral Reef. It'll only be open for about 5 hours for dinner. And it kind of got me thinking, that's such I know it's not doesn't necessarily have the best reputation and stuff, but it's kind of one of those classic signature Disney experiences with the aquarium and stuff like that. And it used to feel like such a unique thing, and that it's now become, they can't fill it up for 2 meals a day and that sort of thing. And it kind of got me thinking, is there just too many dining options in Epcot, especially when you factor in all the festival booths and stuff like that? Are people really going to be making time? And we've just, in general, it seems like people aren't using table services as much as they used to. And then it also made me think, should they instead of just not having lunch, could they do something different? And kind of got me back to when Be Our Guest, first opened. They had the fancy dinner, but it was just kind of like a quick service lunch and breakfast and stuff. Like, could they do something like that in some of these locations that maybe they're struggling to fill, to make it like kind of a quicker, slightly less, less expensive experience or something like that. So I know I threw out a number of questions and that sort of thing. I don't know your reactions to any of it.
I mean, I honestly forgot that this was a place until like a year ago, earlier this year when we were planning like our dining options. If you remember, like we started watching like reviews on like everything that we could possibly find at Disney World to find like, where do we want to eat on our dining plan. And I'm like, I totally forgot that this was a restaurant. So I think that goes to show you that they're not promoting a lot of these things. I think Disney has a huge problem when it comes to their dining, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not a princess or a character meal, like, those advertise themselves because they're famous for them. There is a collection of restaurants that have good reputations on their own that people want to go to them because, like the Sanaz of the world and, Jico, both at Animal Kingdom Lodge, Flying Fish and all those other places. Like they have good reputations anyway. So people will come to them regardless. Locals will go there and fill up those seats to get them. But you have a large collection at Epcot of just sit-down restaurants that I think only get a lot of people in, at least at dinner time, just because there's nowhere else to eat, and they just kind of randomly chose it type of thing. So we've talked about this forever. Like Disney needs to offer like packages for like you could come into Epcot after 5:00 for dining and have that be like an option. Like I think there'd be plenty of people that would go to Epcot to eat if they had an option to like go in there and do it. Like, let's say like you're there for 6 days and you've got like, 4 park tickets, right? And you have 2 days where you're not going to a park. But what if for an extra $50 a person, everybody could go to Epcot every single night after 5 p.m., right? And you can book. I mean, you still have to pay full price for a meal, but it gives you access. Yeah. And you go on a couple rides and watch the fireworks at the end, right? But like at that point, you're spending money in the parks. You spent $50 to get into the parks. And if you're truly not filling up these restaurants, then, it's an issue. Maybe like with the $50, you have to book a dining reservation for that day and like use it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it definitely have to be something like that, or it's like a package, right? You pay $100 a person, and you can get in at 4, but it includes your meal, or maybe it's $150 a person, or whatever, like that.
It's like the candlelight processional type.
Right,
of thing.
And so maybe it's $50 more than that, but then you don't need entrance to the park. That includes your park admittance after 4 p.m. or whatever it is. I think something like they got to try things like that. I don't know what's going on. They just seem to. They try to discount like the dining plan or give it, the kids meal away for free or something like that. But I don't know. There's just so many places where it's like, and you hear, and it's nothing against the restaurants. Like I know we had on our Discord Mama 6, they just went to a number of restaurants, including like Nine Dragons and stuff. I think that's one nobody ever thinks of because it's like, well, I have Chinese food at home.
Yeah.
I gotta go. But she was like, it was a great meal. And so it's nothing against necessarily the restaurants. It's just, there's so much competition for not just your eating dollars, but just dollars in general. And people are, you only have so much time, and it's just not like how it used to be, where dining was such a key thing, where 180 days in advance, you figure out where you want to eat and all that sort of stuff. And
now you don't have to do it really.
Yeah. So it's just like a different experience. And I think they need to try some alternative options.
Because we're too smart for this podcast film. We should really be working for park operations. Would you be more likely to book a vacation for, let's say, a long weekend with you and your wife, for like you go down Thursday night, come back Monday or whatever? You have 3 days, right, to be down there. Would you book a trip where you would pay full price for a hotel, whatever flavor that you find acceptable, but to pay full price, you would get a free package with a full price where you get every night you get a post 4 p.m. dining package that you have to pay for, which would be the $80 a person or whatever it is, plus $50 to get into Epcot. So call it $100 a person or $200, or I don't know, whatever, $100 some a person every night that you're there. That guarantees you a meal and entrance to Epcot for 3 days. Would that get you to book a stay?
It might. I mean, it might be like we've always talked about. Like I think you've even said, like when you and your wife want to get away for some reason, you've thought about different places, and you kind of come back to Disney because it's a place you both like. If there was some sort of couples package that like some hotels do or something like that, where it's Yeah, you get 2 nights in the hotel, you get access to Epcot, you get a meal voucher for both dinners each night, and it's like a bundled price
Yeah.
where, it's still not cheap, but it's like everything's kind of put together and it almost works out that the food's free or something, whatever it is. I don't know. I think that's a way to get people down for weekends and stuff like that. There's
Well,
things like that they could do for sure.
You're basically paying full price for the hotel. You're paying full price for the meal, essentially, whatever it is. It gets you like whatever the dining plan rate value of like the entree, dessert, adult beverage, whatever that cost is for a single meal. I don't $80, $70, whatever the value is. But the discount is you get to go to Epcot for either free or $50 or I don't know, whatever it is, right? It's whatever the add-on they want to do in the background. I think that would be the discount because you're saving $100 on a ticket and you get to go to the park. I think that'd be really cool. Solving problems right here, Phil. Solving problems.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if these are the right things, but I would like to see them try some different things. And I don't know.
I mean, like if Disney ends up having a booking problem, and we're going to talk. I mean, we'll talk about this right now as a segue. Like Disney had their fiscal year 2025 earnings. They're up 3%. They're making lots of money. Certain parts are doing better than others. Foreign parks are doing really good. Cruise lines doing really good. Some domestic stuff is flat, but overall, the company is very, very healthy. Streaming is up. Everything's good. Everybody's going to doomsday things, but everything's basically pretty good. Yep. And but the thing is, they're raising prices on the tickets, right? And that's another big thing for next year. And I'm curious. Everybody's trying to figure out when is Disney going to stop raising prices. And we talked about this earlier in the year when I did my touring plans article about like they solve the value moderate hotel costs, right? That really hasn't fluctuated significantly in the last 2 decades. Mm-hmm. But deluxe keeps going up, right? They're trying to pinch the pennies of all the people that have a lot of money to go to Disney. And right now, if they're going to have issues with raising tickets, that pushes other people out. I really would love to see Disney have interesting packages that gets me like excited to go. Because I have no interest of going next year for a prolonged vacation. We probably do it down and back at some point for like a weekend or something. But like another $8,000 to $12,000, party of 6, 9-day extravaganza. Like I'm not paying that money for nothing next year. But if they do some kind of gimmicky thing that gets me thinking, I'm like, I could save $100 a day for, times whatever. I'm like, maybe I'll do that because that's an actual, I don't know. I don't even know if Disney needs to do that because plenty of people are still spending money, right?
I mean, like getting to I don't know how much more we want to talk about it, but yeah, they said a Parks and Experience division had record earnings of $10 billion. So it's like, I think they're doing okay. Now, obviously they're also investing a lot of money. They're going to want to get a return on that investment and that sort of thing. But I don't know how much they are, everyone's like, oh, attendance is down or where it is at flat and Epic's taking, it's like, I don't know how much they care about that. And obviously they want to expand capacity. They're doing that to Magic Kingdom and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't think they're trying to get every last person through the door. They're trying to get every last person that's going to spend a good amount of money through the door. And I don't know. So it's like all these things that we can come up with, like, oh, you could get like a handful more people if you did this. It's like, yeah, how much is that really worth it to Disney? So I don't know.
I mean, to me, it's like who on part, because there's a bunch of different business divisions, right? There's the restaurants and the hotels. It's the parks that just want people spending money, buying merch. Like there's a lot of different like fiefdoms, I guess, within the company that have all their own P&L and bonus structures and stuff like that. How big are the restaurant people? We're like, we need more butts and seats in our restaurants. Like, can we have a promo, please, type of thing? Because I mean, they did like kids eat for free. Dining
they are trying some stuff
like
with that, and we do. I do like to give them credit. They are, I think, recognizing they kind of need to bring in that next generation of Disney families. It seems like what they're targeting for next year by giving kids eat free and stuff like that. But I don't know. I still think they could do more of those packages where it's like, your family of 4 comes down, you get 4 nights with 4 park days and it's X, and like kind of bundle it all together so they don't have to worry about it. I still always go back to those commercials they used to have with like the husband and wife, like, wait, we can all go for $1,600 or whatever it was. We can do that. It's like, I feel like you don't see that now where they're actually putting out a number saying you can go all in for 3,000 for whatever it is. I'm sure it's like still going to be a lot to quite a few people, but there's also going to be that other segment that like, we've been thinking about going down. Like, I think we could swing that, like that sort of thing. So I don't know, but we'll see. You still got to bring in those new people, but
Disney knows how much people are spending on merch versus food, or lightning lanes versus food. Like, there's only a finite amount of money people have when they go down there, and I don't know if it's instead of going to dining, they're paying premier passes or single passes or anything. I don't know if the money's just getting shuffled away from restaurants. I would, you know what, I would love to see a study done, or like a thing done for like, what is the average cost of a meal? Because there was somebody on Twitter, I forget who it was, but they were talking about like how Disney's just like raising the costs on everything. It was like one of these type of like, warble garble, like, Disney terrible type of post. I'm like, and it wasn't just a random person. It was a prominent Disney Twitter account, whatever. And I'm like, well, you're talking about the rise of tickets. I'm totally with you. Yes, they're rising really high, but like food costs he was complaining about. I'm like, I just took my daughter last week to Cava. And if you don't know what Cava is, it's basically a Mediterranean version of Chipotle. It's like you go in, dump a bunch of food in a bowl and give it to you, right? It's very delicious. But just me and my daughter with 2 small sodas was like $40, right?
Yeah.
And I live in I'm in Maryland. I'm, an hour north of Baltimore. I mean, like, it's not like I'm not in like New York City. I'm not I'm in a normal suburb, right? It's, it's $40 for me and my daughter to go eat. I'm like, I can go find a Satuli Canteen for me and my daughter is going to be less than $40 if I go. Cause it was, instead of $17, I mean, granted, we got one of the more expensive bowls on the menu, but still, like, the other ones are only $1 cheaper. So I think like Satuli Canteen is like what, like 15 or like $14 a person,
depending on which bowl you get,
bowls?
but yeah, like between 12 and 17 or something like that.
I'm like, it's about the same. Like, I was on the 95 just the other day, stopped at a Burger King traveling for work, and a Whopper meal with a large fry, large soda was $16.50. So anyway, I don't know where this tangent is, but Disney knows how to make their money. They know where the money's going. And,
no, I think it's like you said, the baseline for people coming in at the value level, the hotels, the quick service is like, it's not cheap, but it's kind of like,
it's comparable.
It's comparable to a lot of other areas. It's the other areas where they're trying to get money out of the people that have it, but the ticket cost is just so tough for people. And if you look at an individual day, you could say, yeah, there's a lot of value there compared to a Broadway show or a concert or whatever, everything's like, but you're not just going for one day. You're paying for your whole family to be there for a week or whatever. And it's just like, everything seems fine until you add up that like $5,000 just for tickets. I mean, when we went the other day, it was just the 4 of us. It wasn't even all 5 of us. It was a 3-day park hopper. It was like $2,300 for the 4 of us to go. Like, that's a lot of money.
That's obscene.
Everything else we did fairly economically, but
you can't get away from those ticket prices.
Away from the ticket prices. So until they figure out a way to bundle that in,
or you just join the military and get their really good military annual pass.
Yeah, no problem.
Just sign up. Just sign up. The next one, I just want to move on to our construction updates. There are no construction updates, except that I found a really cool picture of a pile of dirt on the WDW Magic forums. I believe it was from DC Baker who took a picture of it. It's one of the laydown yards outside of the Magic Kingdom, and it looks like a 40-foot tall like mesa of like dirt, right? So I don't know if it's dirt that's been excavated from somewhere or dirt that's being brought in to fill in certain areas. It's just lots and lots of dirt. It is a extravagant amount of dirt. I'm assuming that they're going to, there's like all the swamplands and stuff like that. They might be filling in some things for different type of infrastructure and stuff like that. So you need dirt to kind of fill in the swampy areas that they might be using. Rivers of America is just a cement bottom, so they don't need to worry about that too much, I don't think, unless they start ripping up the cement and they need to fill it in. So we'll see. Also, another note is a lot of the trees are down. We talked about that, I think, last week or week and a half ago we had the show, but no other movement on that. There's still trees there, but it's still it's wild taking a look at it. And you can't even see it anymore, Phil, because they frosted the glass over in the Columbia.
Yeah, which apparently I didn't realize. I felt bad. I guess Julie on our boards had posted that about a week or so ago. But it was officially reported that, they frosted over the glass, so you can't sit on the second floor of Columbia House Harbor and watch the construction there. So I guess they're on to us.
Do you think that would have gone unnoticed for a while if people weren't posting pictures about that online?
I don't know.
Not many people go up there, right? I don't think I've ever been up there before.
I've been up there at least twice because it's usually quieter when you're trying to find a table and stuff like that. But I think it's funny that they found that. And now once Big Thunder opens, I'm sure they'll have to put up walls in the queue and stuff like that, so you can't really see. I don't know.
We'll see. Maybe they'll time it like, most of the stuff will be not done, but like bulldozed over. But I don't know. Would you think I don't think they can put walls up on the queue unless they board. They probably would because they did that for Haunted Mansion. You're right. You're right, because you're mostly enclosed once you get to an elevated position. They could probably wall that all up.
Yeah, there's definitely ways where it goes around. There's already kind of like some like fencing and stuff like that. You can just attach some walls to that and stuff. I mean, I'm sure you'll be able to get a glimpse while you're actually riding it. I don't think they'll put up walls to block that, but but in the queue, I suspect they will put up walls.
Reminder of our social media accounts: Twitter, Insta, Facebook, the YouTube channel, and Blue Sky at the DBC Pod. We've been posting shorts on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok. So if you're following us on any of those platforms, you've been getting them over the last week and a half. Hope you've been enjoying them. They're all done by AI, and AI is doing a much better job than I could of finding funny moments in our shows. So we appreciate all the likes. If you see one on any of those platforms that you watch, do a little like, leave a comment or something else. That really helps us out. So we appreciate that. They've been going over
and just to be clear, AI is just doing the clipping and stuff like that. Our show is not AI.
Are you sure, Phil? How do you know you're real? How do I know that? How do I know I've not been talking to myself for 5 years?
On the chapter that I'm not a robot.
Not a robot, right? Yes. Thank you, Zencastr, for protecting me. All right, Phil. This was your idea. We're rank 'em Lightning Lane single pass usage. Why don't you lay the groundwork and get us started?
Yeah. So I was thinking about it because I was just there, and we had thought about buying some of the Lightning Lane single pass, although they were all sold out and that sort of thing. But I was thinking about different things that we haven't ranked yet, and so my thought was, well, of the 5 Lightning Lane single passes, which ones are we most likely to use? Which do we think provide the best value and that sort of thing? And to give a bit of a baseline, I did do a little bit of homework and pulled up some stats. So using Thrill data, I was able to get the average wait time for each of these rides. And then I saw an article by Disney Tourist Blog that they said how much the recent high and low price for each of these was. I took the average point of those dollar amounts, and they found a ratio of basically what is the number of minutes that you have to the average wait time is per dollar that you're spending on there. So, for example, in Magic Kingdom, they said Tron, the average wait time is around 43 minutes, and the price range is between $19 and $23. So if you take the average point of that, you are saving around about 2.4 times the minutes to the dollars that you're going to have to spend for that savings. So you're getting
it's $2.40 per minute saved.
Yes.
Okay.
No, 2.4 minutes per dollar.
Okay, so it's the other way around then. Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
Whereas for Mine Train, you're averaging about 41 minutes, but it ranges only from $10 to $15, so about $12.50 is the average. So you're getting about 3.3 minutes for every dollar that you're spending because it's less dollars that you whereas the wait is about the same. For Epcot Cosmic Rewind, average wait is 74 minutes. Average price is around $18, so you're saving about 4.1 minutes per dollar spent. Rise of the Resistance, average wait time is 49 minutes. Average price at around $20, so you're saving about 2.45 minutes per dollar. And then Flight of Passage, this one surprised me a little bit. It said the average wait time is 93 minutes.
You know what is the average time because everything else is close? Everybody's getting.
It might just be that there's only so many things in Magic Kingdom, and that's kind of one of the big ones. And the average price is only $15, so that one is actually you're saving 6.2 minutes per dollar spent.
I wonder how that's going to change once Dinosaur is fully closed next month or in 8 weeks or whenever it closes.
Yeah, I mean that park's really going to be interesting to see like the crowd levels are and where things flow and stuff like that. Because they opened up Better Together, but I don't think that's packing them in so much that it's like drawing crowds from anything else. Go ahead, sir.
I was just to say I was just going through Blog Mickey today, just kind of looking at all the updates from like the last week and a half to make sure I didn't miss any like construction updates that I might have missed. And I read their Zootopia Better Together post or whatever from like a week ago, and the author of that blog was like trashing it like completely, like and like it goes to show again like. I really dislike Blog Mickey's opinion stuff. Like their news is fantastic. Their pictures and their website, I love it. And I go there every day. But like, I really like whenever it's Mike, I believe, right? That's the author there. He every time he speaks out about it, it's just all like curmudgeon and like angry. Like he just like his takes are like they're his own opinion. He's welcome to them. I'm like, but they're always negative. It seems to me, and it's just like. just turns me off.
Yeah,
Anyway, I don't know why I'm
that's-
saying that, but
I don't know if that's what just promotes him to do a blog article like that when he feels negative about something. I don't know, but he's obviously not the only one.
But the whole article was like it was a news article. It was just like, here are the facts. Here's when it's coming. Like it was like all like a very newsy, informational kind of like most of his writing, which is quite good. And he's like, well, if I could just say my own opinion now for once, it's like, you're better off skipping this because this is absolutely terrible. Never come here. I'm like, oh God, okay. Well, fair enough. Whatever. Yep. Anyway, I don't know why I'm bringing it up. Okay, so let's go through some of these. Do you want me just to kind of rattle off like which ones from most likely to buy to least likely to buy?
Yeah, and I'll just and if I just rank them in sort of what is the best value as far as minutes saved per dollar spent on average. Flight of Passage is the most, then Cosmic Rewind, Mine Train, Rise of the Resistance, and then Tron is quote unquote the worst value. Now, obviously, there's differences. Like if Flight of Passage, maybe you're really good at rope dropping, so you just do it then. So then to you, it doesn't make sense to buy that or whatever. Or some of the cues you like better than others, so you don't mind waiting. So taking kind of everything in a pack, what is, in your opinion, which one of these do you think is like sort of the best use, or are you most likely to be willing to spend the money for?
I want to give you two answers.
Okay.
I'm going to give you my own answer in context that I was just there like 4 months ago with for like 10 days. And I'll give the context of the answer I would give somebody else that's going for like their first or second time.
Sure.
Like
yeah,
ever,
perfect.
right? So in my own personal opinion, the one that I would buy most likely would be either Guardians or Tron, right? Okay. I won't buy either. Usually for any kind of vacation I have, I will buy one, maybe two of the headliners. I will never buy Mine Train because I'll either rope drop and get on that and just suck it up in the morning, or find a time during like fireworks or something. So I'll eventually get on it.
Yeah, usually you can find it where it's down a little bit at some point. Yeah.
And I don't mind waiting like 30, 35 minutes. Yep. You can usually find that much time to get on there at any point of any day, right? There's lulls when you can get on there. Cosmic Rewind, to me, my favorite attraction on property, and that single pass will allow me to get on potentially multiple times pretty easily. So I'll definitely do that. I've done a single pass for it every single time I've gone since it's opened. Then that's personal preference. Rise of the Resistance, I really like the queue, so like I don't really want to skip it too much when I do a single pass for that. And I've never been able to successfully rope drop Rise of the Resistance because either the Skyliner has been down or we're just not rope dropping Hollywood Studios. I just don't find the value in it. I mean, it's a phenomenal ride. I don't mind waiting in that ride for whatever reason. Like I spent 90 minutes in the queue, like getting on like 10 minutes before park close, and it was just like, okay, this is fine. Flight of Passage. This is a maybe for me. Like if the price, like you have a price range in here of like 11 to 19. If I see it for $11, I'll buy it just because I love the ride and it saves a lot of time. The queues to me is very boring. But like that's hit or miss. So I will definitely either buy Tron just because I hate the queue in that attraction. Like the outdoor queue, it's dreadful to me. So I'm not a big fan.
Little boring. There's not much to see.
And so that's give or take. Like my last trip, we bought Guardians, but I wish I bought Tron, but Tron was sold out, right? Just because it would have saved me a decent amount of time, the time I chose to go on there. For somebody that has first time or second time type of thing, I'd say you have to. I would say Guardians if you like roller coasters, like just get on that. The queue is really, really boring in that attraction. There's really not much to it until you get to the merge point where the pre-show starts. Then it's really fun, but you get to skip all the boring line stuff. And then I would say, don't get Mine Train, don't get Flight of Passage because if you go early or late, you could probably get on it with a decent wave time. And Rise of the Resistance to me is like, again, are you a huge Star Wars fan? If you are, don't get the single pass. And if you don't, then there's really no reason for you to go on that ride anyway. It's not worth your time. So it kind of mirrors my own, except that Flight of Passage is probably might be worth it versus some of the other ones, just because it's good to have an experience. Did that make any sense? I feel like I rambled for 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's all good. It's okay, your thoughts. Yeah, it gave me time to think about my thoughts as well too. I think the one we might differ on is I do think it might be worth it for Rise of the Resistance, especially if you've never done the ride and you want to guarantee that you get on, just because I feel like that ride goes down a lot.
True.
And that
I didn't think about that.
and when it comes back up, they're going to prioritize people with the
Where
lightning lane for it.
Where's the lightning lane merge? I don't think I've ever been in the lightning lane.
So the lightning lane it merges kind of like right before you're going to get into the first pre-show. So with the lightning lane, you see all the pre-shows and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's the single
rider line.
The single rider skips a lot of it, but the lightning lane you get to see pretty much everything.
I mean, I think it's worth seeing all the cool like Rebel base kind of architecture go through it. I don't know if it's worth the first time 90 minutes going through, but yeah, you have a point.
So that would be the one that may be different. The Tron, the other benefit to Tron is if you want to ride it at night, you can book your time slot at night, so you can ride it at night. So I think those, it's kind of funny. Those are the two that are quote unquote the worst values, but to me, it might be the ones that I would be most likely to use. Cosmic Rewind, I would definitely be willing to use it, but I also feel like I found the you can usually get the queue not too bad on that one, and I don't mind waiting in that queue as much. At least most of it's indoor and stuff like that. But I think if that's one, like you said, especially if you wanted to ride it multiple times, that's probably worth getting.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't mind the queue either. It's just like, you know, when you kind of get upstairs and you're going through like the exhibits as you get to the merch point, like whenever I get to that point, I'm like, oh, there's so much more to go. Cause I know there's the back and forth, back, whatever. And it's just like, that it starts like lagging me down in my mental state at that point. But again, it's not terrible because I think it's worth it for that attraction.
Good. So we would talk through it. I don't know if you want to try to come up with an actual rankings, but I think we talked about at least which ones.
We did not do a good job as a ranking with.
Yeah, we'll tell this discuss them.
Yeah, there we go. Discuss them. The next one, we're finally getting to this. I think this was an engagement from like 4 weeks ago, right? Like before you went that. But we're finally to it. So this was a survey from Mama of 6.
Yes, she got the survey from Disney after her family trip, I think it was.
Yep. So the way it is, I'm going to put this up here so I can read it because I'm an old man and it was too zoomed in. Or zoomed out. So basically the question that Disney was presenting to the person was, below are some statements about travel behaviors and preferences for each pair. Please select an option you feel describes you best. So essentially what it is there's a statement on the left, there's a statement on the right, and you select left or right, which one is best for you. So we're going to go through these, Phil. You're going to give your answer. I'm going to give my answer, and then we'll go through them. There are a total of 5 questions or options, I guess. Yep. Here we go. So the first one is knowing a place adds to the enjoyment of vacation, or exploring someplace adds to the enjoyment of a vacation. So knowing that the place adds it, like you're prepped for it, you know where to go, or going there and finding out things that are enjoyable.
So
I'm assuming that's what it means.
I think it means do you prefer exploring new places that you've never been before, or having familiarity with a place? Does that give you more enjoyment to the vacation because maybe you're more comfortable with it and that sort of thing? Yep. So it's basically saying, do you want to keep coming back to Walt Disney World year after year, or do you want to do different things? So I chose exploring new places adds enjoyment to vacation. Not that I don't enjoy familiarity with Walt Disney World and stuff like that, but I usually am excited about whatever's new down there. And we do like to go to new places. Like we're going to go to Paris. We're going to go things like that. So I think, checking out new things that we haven't seen before, even if it is at a familiar place, is something that we seek out for vacation.
So I'm kind of cheating with this. I'm the same way. But I could also find we've been like all of our family vacations have been just like Disney World for like forever, right? We've gone like camping and some other kind of fun like weekendy type of things, but we haven't had any other major vacations outside of Disney World in the last couple of years. But like with Disney, like it's so large that like I want to go to experience new things when I'm down there. I don't know if knowing that I've never been there, but doing all the research about it makes it knowing. I don't know, but I like exploring different things. I hate traveling and going somewhere where I know nothing about it and just winging it. So I always kind of know something about where I'm going. So I'm kind of with you. Like I always like new experiences. That's why I never really mind when Disney changes things and it's like people screaming sacrilegious, that I'm like, let's explore something new. It might be fun. All right, so the next one is I prefer to spend money to save time. I prefer to spend money to save time.
No, it's either I
prefer to.
You said the same thing. Spend money to save time, or spend time to save money.
Save money, man. It's late there. I am so sorry. Yes. Would you rather spend money or time?
Yeah. I picked spend money to save time at this point. I'm kind of at that point in my life. Not to say I spend things willy nilly. I'm going to do research and kind of decide what I think is a good value. But if we going over to some museum we've never been to, and there's an option for early entry or a tour or something, like when we went to the Sistine Chapel, like we spent money on a tour to guarantee we're going to get in versus waiting in line for 6 hours. So I think there's some things I'm willing to wait for. But I'm also going to strategically spend money to save time. So I think of the two, I'm at this point of spending money.
I'm split with this one. I would generally say spend money to save time. I can't believe I screwed that up. But there are some times where I'd rather spend time to save money.
Oh, sure. I think with all these, you're never going to be 100% one or the other. It's just of the two, which do you think is more you?
I mean, like, for example, we spend a lot of time driving to save money, right? So the time spent driving is a big money saver because it's a big chunk of money. But if I can spend like a couple $100 to save time, I'll do that. But if I can save a couple $1,000 and spend time instead, I'll do that. Like, it depends on the magnitude of like time and money, right? But generally, with the offerings that it's referring to, right, lightning lanes essentially, I will spend the money to save time. The next one is, let's see if I can read this correctly. I prefer destinations and experiences that are more adventurous and active. I prefer destinations and experiences that are more relaxing and leisurely. Now, I'm assuming the adventurous and active doesn't mean that you're going commando in a park for 12 hours and you're kind of going kind of crazy. I'm assuming this is kind of learning more towards like excursions and adventures by Disney and stuff like that. So
I think so.
Which way did you go there, Phil?
I did go left. I put destination experiences that have more adventurous, active nature to them. On vacation, I have to be doing things. I can't just sit around a pool or be at the beach for hours and hours. Again, that doesn't mean I want to go commando every second of the day, but I need to feel like I'm getting stuff done and doing things for the most part. So of these two options, I'm definitely more of the little bit more active vacation.
I agree, though I didn't read this question more like that because, again, I'm assuming there's a level of hustle in all of our Disney World vacations anyway. So when I said relaxing and leisurely, I was thinking like finding the vacation in the vacation, only doing 6 hours in the parking rather than 10. So I was kind of inferring differently. But no, I agree that's what they were probably meaning, right? Like you want to be actively doing things.
Yeah.
And, the wife and I were talking about like what kind of vacation do we want to do in 2026. We're not doing a massive big Disney vacation. We have options, and our lives are so busy during the summer or whatever that we can't like be gone for a very long time. Anyway, we're talking about Dollywood, right? We mentioned that before on the show, and because my wife's always said, I want to do like a beach vacation. I'm like, that seems so boring to me and more work than necessary. Because what are we going to go get a house somewhere, spend a couple $1,000s to rent it? And every day we wake up, meander down to the beach. I have to sit there in the sun for 6 hours. The kids run around, and then we go back. We have to clean everybody up, and then I have to cook dinner every single night. Or one night, maybe go to a restaurant or something, right? Like, that doesn't sound like vacation to me. That just seems like home, but somewhere else, and I don't have my own bed, right? Like, that just sounds like awful. I mean, I grew up with beach vacations. I get it. It's not like I've never experienced them. I mean, Jersey Shore, like, all the time. Like, but, like, to me, that's, like, and I remember my wife and I did like a bed and breakfast kind of like vacation for one of our anniversaries. And we had an amazing like 12-course meal. It was very expensive and very delicious. But the other 2 days we're like hanging out at the bed and breakfast and just kind of going to the pool, and like wasn't really much going on at the place. And I'm like, what are we doing here? We're actively bored looking for things to do. And but like when we go to Disney, there's literally cannot do nothing. Like we have to actively not like mean to not do anything rather than our minds wander. So yeah, I'm long-winded, but yes, I need to be doing things for sure. The next one is I'm willing to make trade-offs to stick to my budget. I'm willing to spend more to have the trip I envision. Which one did you go here, Phil?
I said I am willing to make trade-offs to stick to my budget. Like I said, I am willing to spend money to save time, but I'm always going to say like, okay, if we're doing that, that means we're not doing something else. And it doesn't mean like I to the last cent, if I'm going to be a little bit over it to get something out, okay. But I'm not just like, all right, the budget's out the window. Let's just keep doing this, blah, 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 blah. I want to stay here. We'll stay, it's kind of like there's going to be trade-offs. If we're going to be buying Lightning Lane, then we're not going to be getting, we're staying value instead of moderate or whatever it is. There's going to be kind of trade-offs to get the things we want.
Much like the money to save time and time to save money type of thing, I'm like torn on this. I'm mostly making trade-offs to stick to my budget For example, like if we're doing not on the dining plan, we're sacrificing one thing to do like a princess meal or something else like that. That's very expensive. But like, I will spend more to have the trip that I envisioned. Like our last trip, like I spent more just to make sure that we got park hoppers. Like I know that this is the type of vacation I want. I'm going to go spend the extra $500 for my whole family to do that. So it really depends on the cost. Like, will I spend an extra $2,000 or an extra $300 a night to stay at a deluxe to have the vacation I envision? No, I'm not going to do that. But I will make trade-offs. So it kind of like I'm in either category. I don't know how to categorize myself like this, but if I had to say overall, I'm making trade-offs because I'm not going to blow my budget out of the water if that's what they're inferring here with this question. And the last one, I am trying to maximize convenience. I'm trying to maximize enjoyment. So I think you can get some enjoyment from convenience too.
Yeah,
So
these seem a little not mutually exclusive. But if I had to pick one of these, I'm maximizing my enjoyment. I'm planning things that I want to do, that I want to enjoy. And if that means rope dropping, if that means kind of over engineering spreadsheets and stuff like that, I mean, granted, that is part of my enjoyment. But I'm going to do that versus, just doing easy things because they're easy. I'm going to, jump through some hoops if I have to kind of get everything that I want done. So.
I mean, would it be convenient to sleep in and maximize enjoyment is to rope drop? Is that kind of what they're getting to with this type
I think
of thing?
that's one way of looking at it for sure, that you're willing to like convenience could also be though goes with the budget things like I'm going to buy Lightning Lane because that makes things easier, or Lightning Lane Premier Pass because that makes things super convenient,
But isn't Premier Pass maximizing enjoyment too because you get to do more fun things? Like I'm trying to figure out what maximize convenience means.
I'm not really sure. To me, it's that taking things easy and not like researching and not like trading off things or moving things around. And
I'm like, I'm thinking like
less planning versus more planning. I don't know.
I think if these things are offset against each other, I would imagine that convenience means that you're losing enjoyment. Like you're like, it's convenient to do this, but I don't get to do that. Right. So it might be like traveling like on property somewhere. It might be like, I'd rather just kind of sit around here rather than going out of my way to do a thing.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know what answer they're trying to, or what question they're trying to answer with this one. So I'd be kind of curious what they're kind of mining for with this one. Maybe it's just, this is like a tester question to kind of zero in on your answers in the previous.
It might, I was going to say, might tie into some of the other ones. Like if you're, like you said, I'm willing to spend all the money in the world but I want convenient things or I want enjoyment. Yeah. It's like, like that type, how do they tie together?
I mean, like if you vote for like, I'd rather spend money to save time and I'm willing to spend more to have the trip I envision and I'm trying to maximize convenience, that tells probably a story.
I think
of like
so,
who you are, right?
I was reading these. That was going to be one of my larger questions is what do you think Disney's getting at with all these? I think a lot of it is how they're going to, or what they're going to market to you, depending on what you answer these. And I feel like a lot of it is like, are we going to market to you? If it's for the parks, are we going to market you value or deluxe or whatever? I think it's also, are we going to market Adventures by Disney or are we going to market Disney Cruise Line to you? Because it's like, if I want to spend a lot of money and be adventurous and have maximize enjoyment, that's kind of Adventures by Disney. Whereas it's like, obviously you're going to spend money, but like, I want to be more relaxing. I want to be leisurely. I want convenient things. That's
and Disney has your spending profile also, right? Yeah. So like, you know how much money you spent or can estimate that by just merch and food and experiences. Like I think what Disney is doing here, now that I'm thinking about this, is, the lower end of the spending spectrum that are Disney customers for cruise or parks is, the value. And we say this all the time. The value moderate customers have been solved. They know what they offer, what their price point is, what their tipping point of go, no go is for either cruise line or parks. But it's that stretch of people that don't mind spending $600 a night on that, or $700 a night on that deluxe accommodation and getting an annual pass or having a bunch of park hoppers. Maybe they have three vacations in a row and they have a park ticket for every single day and a hopper for every single day. How do we get more money out of them? Are they looking for more convenience? So let's give them Premier Pass. Yeah. That's where that kind of invent. I don't know. So I think they're trying to find because they're trying to maximize guest spend, right? That's they're not trying to get as many people as possible in the parks, but they're just trying to get as many people that can spend the most in the parks. Maybe they're like, we need more convenience, so let's start.
And also keep in mind, one of these questions on these surveys is always, what's your household income? And I remember they pointed out that when Universal asked that, they basically split you into, the top quintiles of the range, right? When Disney does it, they have all the lower quintiles, and then for just that top quintile, they have 5 more levels. Yeah. So they really want, so if they want to know if you're in that upper level versus just kind of upper level, like what do you answer to these? Because I prefer spend money to save times, and I make over $1 million a year. That's a little different than I prefer to spend money and time and I make $50,000 a year, whatever. They're going to match all that up together and market things to you.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. We got a couple different responses. We're over an hour, so we're not going to go into what everybody says. But I want to appreciate TL Man and Lumpy from almost 3 weeks ago for answering these things. Next week's DBC engagement. This one was yours, Phil. So what is the engagement question for this week?
Yeah, so this came up a little bit on Discord the other day when the Toy Story 5 teaser trailer came out, and obviously Zootopia 2 is out in like just a couple days, and they just announced Frozen 3 and 4 that the stars of that are each getting $60 million. There's a lot of sequels coming and stuff like that. And, a lot of people were sort of kind of anti-sequel a little bit, for lack of better words. But what I want to ask is, obviously we want films that are good, whether they're originals or sequels. But just in general, do you get more excited for sequels with characters or do you get more excited if it's original story, but something about that story kind of captures you with that sort of thing? And then also, okay, these are the sequels we're getting. Are there any Disney, Pixar, Fox animated films that you would like to see a sequel of? So maybe ones that are lesser known or haven't been, we don't, maybe you're tired of, I don't want to see Toy Story 5, but I'm open to seeing Treasure Planet 2 or, whatever it is, like a new story about some characters that, So kind of a 2-part question is, do you prefer sequels with characters or do you prefer original stories? But if there are sequels, which films would you like to see a sequel of?
I like these questions. I'm about to answer. I could go on for like another half hour with this thing. This is because I think
now we have content for next week.
Don't spoil perfect. I think no, I would never. I think it'd be interesting if we could correlate the people that would prefer sequels versus originals, or vice versa. Or the people that want original movies are the ones that also want original IP for the parks too. They hate the IP mandate type of thing. So it'd be interesting to correlate, because this is like just profiles. So there's like distinct profiles of like adult Disney fans on the internet, and I would love to see where this would fall into that. But we don't have enough people to make a scientific study out of that. So, but this is a good one, Phil. I like this. We'll talk about this next week. Phil, anything else that we need to add before we end this show?
Nope, I think that should cover it. So thanks for understanding how we missed a week there. I think this time of year is a little busy with everything going on with family stuff. So we do appreciate and do ask that you give us some flexibility when you need it. We'll do our best to get a show out every week, even if it's maybe a little delayed.
We went like 4 or 5 years with like one show missing, and this week we've had like work and personal things. Yeah. I think we missed like 3 or 4 weeks this year, which is not terrible to begin with. Anyway, and we did do a 2-hour episode, the last one. So if you want to count hours per week, I think we're still
on track.
Yeah, for sure. So if you just have to look into the future when you listen to our 2-hour show and just know that we weren't going to do the show that week, and just save that second hour for the next week. Maybe we should have done like part 1, part 2, and just taken the week off or something.
No, but we listen to Wheezy, who wants these long episodes.
That's it.
These long epic shows.
Before we go, we just want to thank New Matt for joining Discord. If you haven't joined Discord yet, make sure you join. If you're watching YouTube, the link to Discord is in the description. And if you're listening to this, go to YouTube and find the Discord there. Link there. It's also on Twitter and all the other places as well. And thank you for Joe P for emailing us in. Phil was very happy to receive that email, so we appreciate that. That being said, thanks for watching and listening, friends, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care, everybody.